everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Kiana and I do a lot of sewing and fashion videos. And today I'm gonna tell you all the sewing supplies that you need if you wanna start sewing in 2025. And I'm gonna tell you all of the sewing supplies that I think are nice to have in addition to that. I have a lot of thoughts on this topic. I've been sewing for many years. I have a bachelor's degree in fashion design. I used to be a professional tailor and I am now currently a professional pattern maker, so you can trust me. All right, so I have everything lined up right here. I have my notes right here so I don't miss anything, so excuse the iPad. But I'm gonna have two categories and I'm going to label them as such throughout the video. So the first category would be essentials. You need this item if you want to sew, versus the nice to haves. You would probably enjoy having this item, but you don't necessarily need it. I'm gonna link everything down below. I'm gonna put the names of everything and the prices on the top of the screen, and I will calculate the total cost for you at the end for both categories. So let's get into it. Starting off with the biggest purchase, a sewing machine. We could do a whole separate video on this, so we're not gonna get too into it, but you do not need anything expensive to start sewing. Here is a $90 sewing machine that I have. It is a Singer Promise 2. I wouldn't necessarily recommend this one, but I would recommend the brand Singer and Brother for beginners. They're at a lower price point. They are reliable machines, easy to fix if something goes wrong. And that's what I sewed on growing up, Singer and Brother machines. Now there are some settings on the machine that I want you to look out for. I want you to make sure whatever machine you buy has a stitch length adjuster, a stitch width adjuster, some type of overcast stitch, which could even just be a zigzag, a buttonhole setting. This one has a 4-step buttonhole, which is completely fine, but I got something, and a tension control for your thread. Most sewing machines are gonna have all of those things, but you're gonna want them. My machine I didn't buy till I started my career. It is a $1,500 Juki machines. The Jukis, you will learn they're like the Ferraris of sewing. You don't need them, but they sure are nice to have, okay? If you know that you want to have this as a hobby, I would research more into what you're going to be doing. So if you're quilting, you're gonna need some more stitches on your machine. If you're sewing garments and you know you're gonna wanna work with denim or faux leather, then I'd get like a heavy duty machine like the Singer heavy duty machine. But again, we could talk about this for hours. I'll have some recommendations listed down below. So going along with your machine are presser feet. The only essential, I would say, other than the all-purpose foot that comes on your machine, is a zipper foot, which your machine should also come with a zipper foot, so you don't have to buy anything there. All right, the nice to have presser feet now. One, an invisible zipper foot. They make putting invisible zippers in so easy. However, you don't need it. I don't even have one because you can put them in with a regular zipper foot. However, way easier with an invisible zipper foot. So if your pattern calls for an invisible zipper, I would just buy that and do that, because this putting it in with a zipper foot is kind of a hard thing to do. Next, these 3 presser feet I use depending on the type of fabric I'm working with, depending on the application, so they're very different. One is a walking foot, which is great for a variety of things. If you're quilting and you have a really high loft batting that's hard to get through the machine, the walking foot helps walk your fabric through the machine. Otherwise, it'll get caught on the presser foot. It also helps with stickier fabrics like leather, faux leather, and knit fabrics that all want to get stuck with the presser foot. However, these are a little more expensive. A budget-friendly option that does a similar thing is a Teflon foot. Super budget-friendly. And I actually almost prefer this one working with stickier fabrics. The faux leather can glide right through. The knits can glide right through. Love her. And the last presser foot I'm always grabbing is a gathering foot. This is definitely nice to have. If you're sewing something with a lot of gathers, this automatically gathers the fabric for you. You don't have to hand gather it. A dream. Not to be confused with a ruffler foot. Now, something else that's nice to have, more for beginners than advanced sewers, if you're struggling to find that you can't keep an even seam allowance, this is a seam gauge. It's magnetic. It pops right on the throat plate of your machine, the metal here, and it stays in place. So your fabric can butt up to the edge of this and keep your seam allowance even. I don't use this, and I find it not the best around curves, but for straight seams, very nice. Next, of course, you're gonna need needles to sew on your machine. The Schmetz brand is what's sold at Joann's. It's really easy to get. I have a ton of them. You don't need all these different needles, but what you do need is a good universal needle around the size 11 or 12. I find I am most often using the size 75/11 for most projects. If you're sewing with cotton, great. However, remember that Google is free. And if you don't know what size needle to use, Google, what size needle should I use for silk charmeuse? Which they're gonna say a size 8 or 9, okay? You can also Google, what size needle I should use for top stitching thread. And they're gonna probably say use a top stitching needle. So needles for your machine. Also, I don't really mind what brand I get. I just get the Schmetz because it's easy to get my hands on, but I haven't really met a brand that I didn't like. However, I have met many brands of threads that I don't like. My recommendation would be Gutermann thread. Yes, it's like maybe $1 or $2 more expensive than the Coats and Clark brand. She's stronger. The spool unwinds better, I think, on your machine. I have no issues with Gutermann thread. I have issues with Coats and Clark. I would say splurge, and I'm gonna call having Gutermann thread an essential. Next, you're gonna need to pin your fabric somehow. I love these more longer ball head pins. They're easy to use if you have nails. People always ask me, how are you sewing with nails? Girl, I use the ball head pins. No problem. They're easy to see, you're not gonna stab yourself, and they're easy to grab onto. I almost always use this. The only time I ever use my Iris Superfine pins, which I also love, or if I'm using a really silky fabric that these pins are gonna pull on, because this pin is thicker than the Superfines. This is a nice to have. This is not essential, but I think the ball head pins are. Another nice to have that I think almost runs into the essential category because these are life-changing are these pins. They make holding the fabric together at certain points amazing. Like when I've gathered fabric and it's bulky, pop them on, keeps it in place. When you want to sew with faux leather and you can't make holes using pins because they will stay there and never go away, clips. I don't know, I just find myself using these almost every single project, so I would say they're worth it to have. Okay, scissors. You're gonna need some fabric shears. These Fiskars original like 7-inch shears that I get on Amazon, I think they're $9. Essential. I love these. I use these all throughout college because, you know, a broke college student, gotta get by somehow. They work amazing. You do not need to buy $60 Ginger scissors, depending on the type you buy. These are nice to have. I just bought these last week. I love Fiskars. They are affordable. They're amazing. You only need these. If you want to give yourself a little gift, be bougie, these are nicer than Gingers, but you don't need it. Now the next couple of things are group. They're nice to have. Rotary cutters, pattern weights, and a cutting mat. I personally will never cut out full pattern pieces with scissors because I feel like there's room for error. Like I can be 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch off at certain points, and it just takes a long time to me. I would say if you've done a couple projects and you know you want to do this as a hobby, go and get yourself rotary cutters, pattern weights, and a cutting mat. This is a good size cutting mat. It is a 24 by 36 inch. It's very nice. I can get by with most projects on this, but I also have a giant cutting mat too over there that I like to use. If you only can afford to get one rotary cutter, I'm gonna say I like the 32mm one the best because it can get around really tight curves, but the bigger the blade, kind of the more leverage you have. And so I think this is 45mm. Yeah, 45mm is also something I reach for a lot. Pattern weights can kind of be a little bit expensive. So my mother made me these ones. She took some scrap fabric and some weights from Lowe's and she made them herself. Miss Bella, my assistant, who you guys know and love, I've seen her use rocks as pattern weights. I just watched her last video. Go subscribe to her, my little baby. And she was using rocks as pattern weights. How smart. Those are free. Go and get you some rocks. Next, you're gonna need measuring tape. It doesn't have to be the retractable kind. I just like the retractable kind, nice and organized. I would say definitely make sure it's the more flexible kind. Some are just like a harder plastic and they're like, you know, you don't know. Okay, sorry. Next are rulers. Essential, any type of ruler. You're gonna be needing to make some measurements. I would say if you're gonna buy one ruler, it would be this Omnigrip by Omnigrid ruler. It's 2.5 inches wide by 18 inches tall. I find myself using this every single day. The transparency, chef's kiss. You end up using it so much. It's very useful. And then I would say some nice to haves would be the big Omnigrid. I'm also finding myself using this all the time. It's a little more luxurious if I'm making some big changes, some big lines than this one, but obviously they're both rulers. They do the same thing. You don't need this if you're on a budget. And then another essential ruler would be some type of curved ruler just to make smooth curved lines. So if you're adjusting patterns, not necessarily making your own pattern, if you're adjusting patterns from a store-bought, whatever, you're probably gonna need a curved ruler. If you're making a pattern for, I don't know, a tote bag with a curved bottom, who knows? You need something curved to make nice lines. Marking tools. These are the only two marking tools I use. I use a pencil on the wrong side of fabric and I use tailor's chalk. When I'm draping, I use a regular pencil because she doesn't rip my fabric. She's a little bit dull. When I'm making marks on paper, when I'm making marks on patterns, a dull pencil gets the job done. When I'm making marks on fabric that need to go away, I use tailor's chalk. I would caution you with the tailor's chalk though, because it can leave lasting residue on clothes. So I would do tests first, steam it away, see if it makes a mark on your garment. It often leaves residue on like lighter weights and lighter colors. I just really like tailor's chalk because I used to be a professional tailor and this is what I'm used to. However, they have probably better things like washable markers that actually go away, steamable markers that go away. Whatever it is that you use, whatever floats your boat, make sure you test out the marking tool on your fabric first to make sure it actually goes away before you start marking it all up. You don't want to ruin your garment. Next, a seam ripper. You will be needing this, girlfriend. Get acquainted with her. As a new sewer, she will become your best friend. I like the ergonomic kind. Trust, you'll be using her all the time. So I would say this is an essential, this kind. I got it as a 3-pack from Amazon. They also get dull, also pretty fast if you're seam ripping a lot. So if it gets too dull, it's not gonna work very well. So I go through these like every couple of months. If you're newer, you might go through them every couple of weeks. Next is for hand sewing. You might need to hand sew some hook and eyes on some zippers, some little stitches, whatever. Here are the things you need. Obviously, you need some needles to hand sew. These are the milliners. Whatever you want to use, you can use. This is a size 3/9. I don't know, I just find myself using these the most. Next, you're gonna need a thimble. I use this kind of thimble because I have long nails and I can't put this kind of thimble on. The thimbles are not to protect your fingers. Well, they are to protect your fingers, but they're really to push the needle through the fabric, to help you push the needle through the fabric. Not so just you don't prick yourself. You do need a thimble. Nice to have for hand sewing is thread magic or beeswax, something to coat your thread and then hand sew. It helps it condition your fibers. It helps pull the thread through your garment easier. Okay, next would be tracing paper and a tracing wheel. If you're working from any pattern, you are probably gonna have to transfer some markings from the pattern to your fabric. This is how you transfer those markings. And then of course, you're going to need an iron and an ironing board. Whatever iron you get, just make sure it has multiple heat settings, like a low, medium, and high, because you don't want to burn your like synthetic fibers on a high setting. Your synthetic fibers, you would probably iron on a low to medium setting, depending on what it is. You can get irons for $10 to $15. This is a nice to have. Love my Chi iron ceramic plates. Never do I burn fabric with it. I also don't know what heat settings I should be using. So make sure, remember, Google is free. Google what heat settings you should be using for your fabric. But I love her, she's great. Of course, you're gonna need an ironing board to go along with that. And then a nice to have would be a tailor's ham. If you are making garments with curved seams and you wanna get a really nice, thorough press in there, a tailor's ham allows you to put the garment on the curved seam and press it open or press it to the side, whatever. I use her, honestly, I don't want to move her into the essentials. Oh my God, I'm gonna move her into the essentials actually. I'm trying to think of a single garment I've ever made where I didn't use this and I can't. So we're gonna actually put the tailor's ham in the essentials. People are always asking me, how can I get my clothes to look less homemade? You need to make sure you're pressing all of your seams immaculately, every single seam, and a tailor's ham helps you do that. Okay. Some miscellaneous items now. An essential would be some type of loop turner. This is my favorite. If you're making some sort of strap that needs to be turned right side out, you plop this through, you pull it out, boom, done. I'm actually gonna move this to the nice to have because instead of this, you could just use a safety pin to turn it right side out. So we flip flop. Something that's nice to have is a point turner. If you're creating anything with a corner, this helps to turn the corner really nice and crisp out. I reach for this a lot. Something else when you're hemming garments and you wanna make sure that hem is nice and even, so you're pressing the hem up 1 inch and then sewing it. This you can bring over to the ironing board, pick your seam allowance and use it to help iron. However, I'm saying it's nice to have because you could also use a ruler. So she's nice to have. I honestly don't use a ruler or a seam gauge because I know, like, hands down, what 1/2 inch versus 5/8 of an inch versus 1 inch looks like. It's like muscle memory to me at this point. And then a little hybrid of the two, there's this point turner / seam gauge. But again, nice to have. Something else that's nice to have are long tweezers. I do again use these every day. You don't need them, but if you've ever had a fight with your sewing machine because you can't get it to thread, first of all, your machine can probably only thread an 11 or 12 size needle and above. If you're trying to use the automatic threader with a size 10 or below, you're gonna break your threader, just so you know. It's not the machine breaking, it is you forcing it to thread when it can't. So often I will use this to help thread. I will use this to help pull thread from the bobbin. I use her all the time. So if you find yourself cursing out your machine because of little thread situations, tweezers. Which brings us to the very last thing. And I do not think you should buy this right away, this last thing, which is the dress form. You really only need the dress form if you're making your own patterns. But before you start trying to do pattern making and draping, I would get a few projects under your belt first. You know, make a tote bag, make a little slip skirt, make some other things. I wanna say like do a lot of projects before you try pattern making, but like you can pattern make some basic things, like with being a beginner. So I don't wanna discourage you, but you should not be pattern making right off the bat. Okay. I always say that like, if I'm comparing sewing to like something we all know, like math, pattern making, like the highest level, why would you take calculus or differential equations if you don't even know algebra? Or if you don't even know how to add 2 + 2? We gotta learn from the basics first, okay? So let's get our basics down, then say you wanna go and get a dress form. If you want a more affordable, fully pinnable dress form, Fabulous Fit has them for around $300, I think $274. This is from Royal Dress Forms. If you're looking to invest, I cannot rave about mine enough. It is the Monica from Royal Dress Forms. It is like $1,000 though, but it's my favorite dress form that I've ever used. I would not ever really recommend the adjustable dress forms because when you're draping, you're gonna need all of those lines where it opens up to mark your fabric. So I wouldn't use those. I know they can be tempting because they're adjustable. I would just buy some batting or some dress form padding to change the shape, the size of your dress form. I always say get smaller and then pad up. But again, just like the sewing machines, I could take a whole video just talking about dress forms, so we're not gonna get too far into that because that's not a beginner sewing thing. Let me know if you want any other information on like the sewing machine, the dress forms, any one of these things. Again, I'm gonna have everything linked down below for you. Ooh, and I haven't done the calculations yet, but I'm gonna put the total cost of both the essentials and the nice to haves on the screen so you can see how much you'd be spending for each. But yeah, let me know down below in the comments if I missed anything, if you have any additional tips, if you have any questions, I would love to help you out. But yeah, if you like this video, feel free to give me a thumbs up because it's the easiest way to support your favorite creators for free. Also feel free to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. My handle is Kiana Bonollo. Subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and I'll see you next time. Bye.